The stars looked peaceful from the observation deck of Kepler Station. Captain Jake Morrison stood with his coffee, watching the distant suns twinkle in the black void. He had been stationed here for 3 years now, and the routine never changed. Medical supplies in, injured colonists out, and lots of quiet time in between. "Captain, we have an incoming ship," said Lieutenant Commander Ryan Baker from the command center. His voice carried through the station's speakers. "It's moving fast and not responding to our calls." Jake put down his coffee and walked quickly to the command center. The main screen showed a small object racing toward them. It was spinning wildly and leaving a trail of debris behind it. "That's an escape pod," said Dr. Lisa Chang, looking up from her medical scanner. "Life signs are weak but present. One person inside. Bring it into the docking bay," Jake ordered. "Lisa, get your medical team ready." The pod crashed into the docking bay with a loud bang. Steam poured out as the emergency systems tried to keep it from exploding. Jake and his team ran toward it wearing their protective suits. The pod's door opened with a hiss. Inside was a young woman, unconscious and badly injured. Her clothes were torn and burned. Blood covered half her face. "Get her to medical now," Lisa shouted, already scanning the woman with her equipment. "She's in shock and has severe burns." They carried the woman to the medical bay. Jake stayed nearby as Lisa and her team worked to save her. After 2 hours, the woman's eyes opened. "Where am I?" she whispered. "You're safe," Jake said gently. "You're on Kepler Station." "I'm Captain Morrison."
"What's your name?"
"Kira. Kira Voss. I was on New Olympia Colony." Her eyes filled with tears. "They're all dead." "Everyone is dead." Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. New Olympia was a research colony with 50,000 people. "What happened there?" Kira tried to sit up, but Lisa pushed her back down. "They came from nowhere," Kira said. "Ships we had never seen before. They didn't try to talk to us. They just started killing." "Who were they?" Jake asked. "I don't know. They weren't like any aliens we knew. Their ships looked alive like giant insects. When they attacked our buildings, the walls just melted away. The people..." She stopped and started crying. Jake waited for her to continue. Finally, she spoke again. "The people didn't just die. Something was sucking the life out of them. I saw my friends turn gray and fall down. Then they became dust. The aliens were eating them somehow." Lisa looked at Jake with worry in her eyes. This was not normal warfare. "This was something else. How did you escape?" Jake asked. "I was in the research building when they attacked. I ran to the quantum shielding room and locked myself inside. I stayed there for 2 days, listening to the screaming outside. When it got quiet, I looked out. Everything was gone. The buildings, the people, even the trees. Just empty ground." Jake felt sick. "What about the defense systems?" "They destroyed them in minutes. Our weapons did nothing to their ships. It was like shooting water at a mountain." Kira grabbed Jake's arm. "You have to warn everyone. These things are coming and nothing can stop them." Jake left the medical bay and went to his office. He sent an emergency message to Federation Command on Earth. He told them about New Olympia and asked for military ships to investigate. The answer came back 6 hours later. It was short and cold. "Report filed. Investigation not authorized at this time. Continue normal operations." Jake could not believe it. 50,000 people were dead and the Federation did not care. 3 days later, another escape pod arrived. Then another. Each one carried survivors from different colonies. The stories were always the same. Strange alien ships appeared without warning. They destroyed everything and everyone. Then they moved on. Dr. Chang worked day and night to help the refugees. She noticed something disturbing in their medical scans. "Jake, you need to see this," she said, showing him her data. "These people all have the same kind of damage to their brains. It's like something was trying to pull information out of their heads." "What kind of information?" "Memories, knowledge, everything that makes them who they are. A few more minutes of exposure, and their minds would have been completely empty." Ryan Baker had been studying the tactical reports from the survivors. He came to Jake with his findings. "Sir, these aliens are not random attackers. They follow a pattern. First, they disable all communication systems. Then they destroy military targets. After that, they focus on population centers. But they don't just kill people. They're harvesting something from them." "Harvesting what?" "Intelligence, memories, maybe even souls if you believe in that kind of thing." Every colony they hit had research facilities or universities, places where smart people gathered. More ships arrived every day. The aliens, which the survivors started calling devourers, were moving in a straight line toward the center of the galaxy. They consumed everything in their path. Jake sent message after message to Federation Command. Each time the answer was the same. The Federation Council was studying the situation and would respond appropriately when more information was available. The breaking point came when the Devourers reached the Centauri system. This was a group of human colonies that had existed for 200 years. Over 10 million people lived there. Jake begged the Federation to send help. He explained that the Devourers would kill everyone. The Federation's answer was simple. Centauri system is too far away to defend. Resources must be used efficiently. Jake watched the news reports as the Centauri colonies went dark, one by one. The last message came from his old friend Ben Turner, who ran the main colony. Jake, if anyone hears this, remember us. Remember that we asked for help and no one came. Tell Earth what happened here. That night, Jake sat in his quarters staring at the communication system. The Federation had rules about contacting Earth directly. Only official channels were allowed. But the Federation had abandoned his people. Jake made his decision. He composed a simple message and sent it toward Earth using the quantum relay system. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Federation vessel Terra Nova. The Federation has abandoned us. Millions are dead. Unknown aliens are destroying everything. We need help. We need Earth. He pressed the send button and waited. Somewhere in the darkness of space, his message was racing toward home. 3 weeks passed after Jake sent his message to Earth. Every day brought more refugee ships to Kepler Station. The station was designed for a few hundred people, but now over 2,000 survivors crowded into every available space. Dr. Lisa Chang worked without rest, treating the wounded and traumatized refugees. She had seen terrible injuries before, but nothing like this. The survivors all had the same empty look in their eyes as if part of them had been torn away. Commander Sarah Blake arrived on a Federation intelligence ship. She was a tall woman with gray hair and cold blue eyes. She carried classified reports that made Jake's stomach turn. 17 systems have been completely consumed, Sarah said, spreading holographic maps across Jake's desk. Over 200 million confirmed dead. The Devourers are moving in a coordinated pattern toward the galactic core. Jake studied the maps. Red markers showed where colonies used to be. Now they were just empty space. What is the Federation doing about this? Jake asked. Sarah's expression did not change. The Council has approved a series of strategic withdrawals. We are moving our important facilities away from the Devourer path. Strategic withdrawals? You mean running away? Captain Morrison, you must understand the bigger picture. The Federation represents over 400 species across the galaxy. We cannot risk everything for a few outer rim colonies. Jake felt anger building inside him. A few outer rim colonies? We're talking about billions of lives. The Council believes that direct military action would escalate the conflict. We are exploring diplomatic solutions. Diplomatic solutions? Ryan Baker had been listening from the doorway. These things don't communicate. They just kill and consume. Sarah turned to Ryan with irritation. Lieutenant Commander, you are not qualified to make strategic assessments. Dr. Chang entered the meeting carrying her medical scanner. Actually, he might be more qualified than you think, she said. I've been analyzing the survivors' testimonies and medical data. The Devourers aren't just random destroyers. She activated her scanner, showing brain images on the wall screen. Look at these scans. Every survivor shows the same type of neural damage. Something was extracting information directly from their minds. What kind of information? Sarah asked. Everything. Language, mathematics, history, technology, cultural knowledge. The Devourers are harvesting the collective intelligence of entire civilizations. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. They're not just killing people. They're stealing everything we know. It gets worse, Lisa continued. The extraction process is what kills them. The Devourers drain a person's mind completely, leaving them as empty shells. That's why there are so few survivors. Sarah looked at the brain scans with new interest. This information needs to be reported to the Council immediately. I already tried that, Jake said. They're not interested in details. They just want to protect the core worlds. Ryan had been studying tactical reports from the surviving Federation ships. Most had been destroyed, but a few had escaped to tell their stories. Commander Blake, our military doctrine is completely wrong for this enemy, Ryan said. Federation ships are designed for civilized warfare. Territorial disputes, trade conflicts, political tensions. We've never faced an enemy that wants to wipe out all life. The Federation has maintained peace for 3 centuries, Sarah replied. Our methods work. Not against this, Ryan said firmly. Look at these combat reports. Federation ships try to disable enemy vessels, capture prisoners, minimize casualties. The Devourers don't care about any of that. They just want to kill everything. Jake read through the tactical reports. Every engagement followed the same pattern. Federation ships would try to establish communication. The Devourers would respond with overwhelming force. Federation captains would attempt to withdraw and minimize losses. The Devourers would pursue and destroy everything. Our people are dying because we're fighting a total war with peacekeeping tactics, Jake said. Sarah's communication device beeped. She read the message and her face became even colder. The council has voted on the Centauri situation, she announced. Jake's heart stopped. What situation? Centauri was destroyed 3 days ago. The council has decided not to deploy Federation fleets to investigate. The risk to our ships is too great, and the strategic value of the Centauri system is insufficient to justify the expense. Ryan stood up quickly, his face red with anger. Insufficient strategic value? 10 million humans lived there. Lived, Sarah emphasized. Past tense. The council cannot base decisions on emotional attachments to lost territories. Jake felt something break inside him. For 2 centuries, humanity had trusted the Federation. They had given up their independence, their military strength, their right to defend themselves. In return, they had been promised protection and inclusion in galactic civilization. Now, when they needed that protection most, they were being abandoned. Commander Blake, Jake said carefully, what happens when the Devourers reach the core worlds? The Council believes they can be stopped before that happens. The inner systems have much stronger defenses. Based on what? Every defense system they've faced has been useless. Sarah did not answer. She gathered her reports and prepared to leave. Captain Morrison, you will continue to provide aid to refugees and file regular reports. Do not attempt any unauthorized military actions. After Sarah left, Jake sat alone in his office. Through his window, he could see the refugee ships docked at his station. Thousands of people who had lost everything trusting him to keep them safe. His communication system chimed. A new message had arrived from the Outer Rim. Jake opened it and read the first few lines, then sat back in shock. The message was from Captain Helen Torres of the transport ship Mercy. She was evacuating the research station at Alpha Centauri B when the Devourers arrived. They came out of quantum space like demons, her message said. Hundreds of ships, all alive and hungry. We tried to run, but they were faster. They caught the evacuation ships one by one. I could hear the screaming on the comm channels as they drained the people inside. Jake continued reading. Torres had managed to escape with only 50 people out of 5,000. The research station had been working on advanced quantum technology that could have helped defend against the Devourers. Now that knowledge was gone forever. The message ended with a simple plea. Captain Morrison, please tell Earth what happened here. Tell them we needed help and the Federation did nothing. Jake stared at the message for a long time. Then he opened a new communication channel and began typing. The message was longer this time. He described the Devourers in detail, their methods, their goals. He explained how the Federation had abandoned humanity's colonies. He listed the names of every destroyed world he knew about. He ended the message with a simple statement. Earth, your children are dying out here. We followed the Federation's rules and trusted their protection. We were wrong. If you still remember us, if you still care about humanity, please help us. We cannot survive this alone. Jake sent the message toward Earth and waited. In the darkness of space, his words raced toward home, carrying the desperate hope of humanity's scattered children. Admiral Rachel Stone was drinking her morning coffee in her office on Luna when Jake's message arrived. The quantum relay system brought it directly to Earth Defense Command, bypassing all Federation channels. Rachel read the message 3 times before calling an emergency meeting. Within an hour, the most important people in Earth's government were sitting around a secure conference table. General Marcus Webb commanded the Terran Marine Corps. Dr. Nathan Cross ran advanced weapons research. Director Amy Fisher managed colonial affairs. These 4 people made the decisions that affected all of humanity. Gentlemen, lady, Rachel began, we have a problem. Our people in the galaxy are under attack and the Federation is doing nothing to help them. She played Jake's message for the group. The room was silent as they listened to the desperate words of a man watching civilizations die. How many human colonies are in the Devourer path? Amy asked. 43 confirmed settlements with over 50 million people total, Amy replied, reading from her files. That's not counting the research stations, mining operations, and transport hubs. Marcus leaned forward. The Federation promised to protect our colonies when we joined them 200 years ago. Promises are cheap when you're not the one dying, Nathan said bitterly. Rachel stood and walked to the large window overlooking Earth. The blue planet looked peaceful and safe, but she knew that safety was an illusion. The Federation Council thinks humanity is weak, she said. They believe we're natural followers who will accept whatever they decide. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Amy opened her secure files. The Colonial Defense Initiative has been active for 50 years. We have supply depots, communication networks, and emergency shelters throughout human space, but no military assets. That's not entirely true, Marcus said with a slight smile. He activated his own classified files. Project Cerberus has been building ships for 30 years. Ships the Federation doesn't know about. The room's main screen showed images of sleek, dark vessels hidden in asteroid bases and remote construction facilities. These were not the peaceful support ships humanity was known for. These were weapons of war. How many ships do we have? Rachel asked. 247 active vessels with crews training in deep space simulators, another 100 in final construction stages. Dr. Cross laughed, but there was no humor in it. The Federation banned us from developing certain weapons technologies. Quantum mines, neural disruptors, planet crackers. They said such things were too dangerous for young species to possess. He opened his own files showing weapons that looked like they belonged in nightmares. We built them anyway. Earth learned long ago that peace comes through strength, not good intentions. Rachel studied the weapons data. Humanity had spent centuries perfecting the art of war. 2 world wars, countless smaller conflicts, the near destruction of their own planet. They had learned lessons that the peaceful Federation species never needed to know. Nathan, what do we know about these devourers? Based on Captain Morrison's reports and our analysis of survivor testimonies, they're unlike any species we've encountered. They seem to be partly organic, partly technological. Their ships grow rather than being built. They feed on neural energy and collective knowledge. Weaknesses? Unknown. But every biological system has vulnerabilities. We just need to find them. Amy looked worried. If we deploy our hidden fleets, the Federation will consider it an act of rebellion. They might turn against us. Let them try, Marcus said coldly. We've been preparing for that possibility too. Rachel made her decision. We're not abandoning our people. Not again. Amy, activate the Colonial Defense Initiative. I want every human settlement to know that help is coming. Marcus, begin fleet deployment. Use the quantum tunnel network to move ships into position quickly. Nathan, I want every weapon we've developed ready for immediate use. No restrictions, no holding back. The 3 officers nodded and began making calls. Within minutes, orders were flowing across secure channels to hidden bases throughout the solar system. The quantum tunnel technology was Earth's greatest secret. While the Federation used predictable hyperspace lanes that took days or weeks to traverse, Earth could move ships instantly across galactic distances. The technology was based on research that the Federation had declared too dangerous to pursue. In asteroid mining facilities throughout the solar system, construction crews began activating ships that had waited years for this moment. The vessels were painted black to absorb sensor scans. Their weapons were hidden behind armor plating that could retract in seconds. Captain Tony Martinez commanded the carrier Normandy from a hidden base in the Kuiper Belt. He had been training his pilots for 20 years, running simulations against every known alien species. Now those simulations were becoming reality. All pilots to stations, he announced. This is not a drill. Our people are dying and we're going to save them. Admiral Stone returned to her office and composed a message to Captain Morrison. It was brief and direct. Captain Morrison, this is Admiral Stone of Earth Defense Command. We have received your message. Help is coming. Hold your position. Earth remembers its own. She attached deployment schedules and tactical information that would help Morrison understand what was about to happen. The message was sent through quantum relays that could reach Morrison in hours instead of days. Earth's hidden communication network had been built specifically to bypass Federation monitoring. Throughout the solar system, Humanity was waking up. The peaceful species that had followed Federation rules for 2 centuries was remembering what it meant to be human. In training facilities on Mars, soldiers who had prepared for a war they hoped would never come were loading onto transport ships. Their equipment was designed for one purpose: the complete destruction of any enemy that threatened human survival. Dr. Cross supervised the loading of weapons that violated every Federation treaty Earth had signed. Quantum mines that could collapse enemy ships from the inside. Neural disruptors that could sever the Devourer's psychic connections. Kinetic bombardment systems that could crack planets. The Federation called these weapons immoral, Nathan told his assistant. They said civilized species don't need such terrible tools. He watched as the weapons were loaded onto Earth's ships. They were right. Civilized species don't need them. But when civilization is threatened, sometimes you need to become uncivilized to survive. The first Earth fleets began moving through quantum tunnels toward the outer rim. Their destination was Kepler Station, where Captain Morrison was making his last stand against an enemy that wanted to consume everything human. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of her flagship, the dreadnought Valkyrie. Through the viewport, she could see other Earth ships emerging from quantum tunnels like ghosts materializing from the void. "Admiral," her communications officer reported, "all fleets are in position, 200 ships ready for immediate deployment." Rachel looked at the tactical display showing human colonies under threat. Red markers indicated settlements already destroyed. Yellow markers showed colonies in immediate danger. "Begin Operation Retribution," she ordered. "Show the galaxy what happens when you abandon humanity." The Earth fleets disappeared into quantum tunnels, racing toward a confrontation that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Behind them, Earth's hidden infrastructure came fully online, ready to support a war that the Federation thought humanity was incapable of fighting. In the depths of space, Jake Morrison watched his sensors detect the first Earth ships arriving at Kepler Station. They appeared without warning, materializing from quantum space like avenging angels. Help had finally arrived. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his medical frigate, watching in amazement as Earth ships appeared around Kepler Station. One moment the space around him was empty. The next, dozens of black warships materialized from quantum tunnels like deadly shadows. The ships were unlike anything Jake had ever seen. Federation vessels were designed to look peaceful and welcoming. These Earth ships looked like predators, sleek, angular, and covered with weapons that had no other purpose than destroying enemies. "Captain Morrison," a voice came through his communication system. "This is Admiral Rachel Stone of the Earth Defense Command. We received your message." Jake felt tears in his eyes. After months of being ignored by the Federation, someone had finally heard his cry for help. "Admiral Stone, thank you for coming. But I have to warn you, the Devourers are heading this way. They'll be here within hours." "We know," Rachel replied. "That's why we're here. We're going to stop them." Jake looked at his sensors. Earth had brought 47 ships to defend Kepler Station. The Devourers were coming with over 300 vessels. "Admiral, with respect, you're outnumbered 7-1. Captain, you're thinking like a Federation officer. We're not here to have a fair fight. We're here to win." The Earth ships spread out in a defensive formation around the station. Jake could see their weapon systems powering up. Energy readings were off the charts. Whatever Earth had built, it was far more powerful than anything the Federation used. Dr. Lisa Chang joined Jake on the bridge. "Those ships don't match any Federation design specifications," she said, studying the sensor data. "That's because they were never meant for Federation warfare," Ryan Baker said. He had been analyzing the Earth vessel's capabilities. "These ships are designed for total warfare. No rules, no mercy, no survivors." Admiral Stone's voice came through the comm again. "All civilian ships move to the far side of the station." "This is going to get ugly." Jake ordered his ship to a safe distance, but he kept his sensors focused on the approaching battle. He wanted to see what Earth was capable of. The Devourers arrived exactly when predicted. Their ships looked like living creatures, organic hulls that pulsed with dark energy, tentacle-like weapons that writhed through space. They had consumed 17 star systems and never lost a single battle. They were about to learn what human fury looked like. The Devourer fleet moved toward Kepler Station in their usual pattern. They would surround the target, disable all defenses, then begin the harvesting process. It had worked perfectly every time. This time was different. Captain Tony Martinez led the Earth strike wing from the carrier Normandy. His fighters launched before the Devourers could get close to the station. All pilots, this is Martinez. Remember your training. These things killed our people at Centauri. Show them what Earth thinks about that. The Earth fighters moved in coordinated swarms using tactics borrowed from nature and perfected through centuries of human warfare. They struck like wolves, attacking from multiple directions at once. The Devourers had never faced weapons like Earth's quantum mines. The small devices phased through Devourer hulls and exploded inside their ships, collapsing their organic structures from within. Neural disruptors severed the psychic connections that allowed Devourer ships to coordinate their attacks. Suddenly, the unified alien fleet became individual ships fighting alone. Kinetic bombardment systems fired dense metal slugs at incredible speeds. The projectiles punched through Devourer armor like bullets through paper, causing massive internal damage. But the most devastating weapon was human tactical thinking. Federation officers tried to minimize casualties and preserve enemy ships for study. Earth commanders had one goal: complete destruction of anything that threatened human life. Target their command ships first, Admiral Stone ordered. Cut off their coordination, then destroy them one by one. The battle lasted 8 hours. When it ended, the Devourer fleet was completely annihilated. Not one alien ship survived. The space around Kepler Station was filled with debris from 300 destroyed vessels. Jake could not believe what he had witnessed. The Devourers had seemed unstoppable. Earth had destroyed them without losing a single ship. How? He asked Admiral Stone when she came aboard his station. Simple, she replied. We never forgot that sometimes you have to fight monsters to protect the innocent. The Federation forgot that lesson. Earth remembered, but Admiral Stone was not finished. Using intelligence gathered from the battle, Earth ships began tracking down every Devourer nest and stronghold across the galaxy. The quantum tunnel network allowed Earth fleets to appear anywhere without warning. Devourer bases that had existed for centuries were suddenly under attack by human ships that struck like lightning and vanished just as quickly. Commander Sarah Blake arrived at Kepler Station 3 days after the battle. The Federation intelligence officer looked shaken as she surveyed the wreckage of the Devourer fleet. Captain Morrison, Earth's actions violate every treaty they signed with the Federation. The Federation violated its promise to protect our people. Jake replied coldly. Earth kept its promise to remember its own. Sarah's face was pale. The Zalari Council is demanding that Earth cease all military operations immediately. They're threatening to expel humanity from the Federation. Admiral Stone had been listening to the conversation. She stepped forward with a smile that had no warmth in it. Commander Blake, you can tell the Zalari Council that Earth has a message for them. She activated a recording device that broadcast across all Federation channels. Her words would be heard on every Federation world. To the Zalari Council and all Federation member species. For 200 years, humanity trusted your wisdom and accepted your leadership. We believed that peace could be maintained through diplomacy and good intentions. We were wrong, the recording continued. When the test came, when our people needed protection, you abandoned them. You chose politics over lives, procedure over survival. You let millions of humans die because saving them was inconvenient. Jake watched Sarah's face grow paler as the message continued. Earth withdraws its cooperation with the Federation Council. We will no longer pretend that age equals wisdom, or that peace can be maintained by those unwilling to fight for it. Humanity will defend itself and anyone who asks for our protection. The recording ended with a simple statement. We heard one cry for help from our people. We answered with everything we had. That is what it means to be human. Across the galaxy, other Earth fleets were emerging from hidden bases that the Federation never knew existed. Human colonies that seemed defenseless suddenly revealed orbital defense platforms and missile systems. The Colonial Defense Initiative activated, showing that humanity had been quietly preparing for this day for decades. Earth had learned the hard lesson of the Devourer War. Trust in others' protection was a luxury that could cost everything. Within 6 months, the Devourer threat was completely eliminated. Earth fleets had tracked down every alien stronghold and destroyed them all. The final battle took place at the Devourer homeworld, a massive organic construct in the darkness between galaxies. Admiral Stone personally oversaw its destruction, ensuring that this threat could never rise again. The explosion could be seen from 3 star systems away. The galaxy had learned a harsh lesson about humanity. Earth's peaceful nature had never been weakness, it was choice. When that choice was no longer possible, humans showed the galaxy what they were truly capable of when their survival was threatened. The Federation Council tried to reassert its authority, demanding that Earth disarm its fleets and submit to Federation oversight for aggressive behavior. Earth's response was swift and final. The Federation had its chance to protect humanity. Admiral Stone broadcast across all channels. You failed. Earth will not make that mistake again. 6 months after the last Devourer stronghold was destroyed, the galaxy was a very different place. The threat that had consumed 17 star systems was gone forever, but the political landscape had changed just as dramatically. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of the rebuilt New Olympia station. The colony that had been the first victim of the Devourers now served as the headquarters of the Terran Alliance. Where 50,000 people had once died, 1 million now lived and worked. The memorial wall listed every person killed by the Devourers, over 200 million names carved into black stone. At the bottom were simple words, "Never again." Admiral Morrison called Captain Helen Torres approaching with her daily reports. She had survived the destruction of Alpha Centauri B and now commanded the station's defense grid. "The Federation ambassador is here for the meeting." Jake nodded. Ambassador David Chen had once been a Federation loyalist. After watching the Devourers destroy his home colony while the Federation Council debated, he had become one of Earth's strongest supporters. The meeting room was filled with representatives from 37 species. Some had joined the Terran Alliance immediately after Earth's victory. Others had taken longer to abandon the Federation, but they all came to the same conclusion. The Federation could not protect them. Commander Sarah Blake entered the room, but she no longer wore a Federation uniform. After witnessing Earth's decisive action against the Devourers, she had resigned from Federation intelligence and requested asylum with the Terran Alliance. "The Federation Council has issued another demand," she announced. "They want Earth to return all former Federation colonies to their control and submit to war crimes trials for excessive use of force." Jake almost smiled. Excessive use of force? Against an enemy that wanted to consume all life in the galaxy? The Zalari argued that Earth's weapons were too destructive. They claimed that diplomatic solutions should have been attempted first. Dr. Lisa Chang, now the Alliance's chief medical officer, looked up from her reports. "I've examined over 10,000 Devourer victims. Their minds were completely drained. There was nothing left to negotiate with." The room fell silent as everyone remembered the horrible efficiency of the Devourer harvesting process. The aliens had shown no interest in communication, only consumption. "What is the Federation's current military strength?" asked General Marcus Webb, who had arrived from Earth to oversee Alliance defense planning. Sarah consulted her files. "Significantly reduced. 12 species have formally withdrawn from Federation protection and requested Alliance membership. Another 20 species have stopped paying Federation taxes and are building their own defense forces." The numbers told the story. Without Earth's support infrastructure, the medical ships, engineering crews, and research facilities, the Federation was slowly collapsing. More importantly, other species were questioning the Federation's ability to protect them. Admiral Rachel Stone joined the meeting via quantum communication from Earth. Her image appeared on the main screen. "Broadcasting from Luna Command. Status report on the Corvin situation," she requested. Jake activated a star chart showing the Corvin Republic's territory. "The Corvins have formally requested Alliance protection. Their parliament voted unanimously after Federation forces retreated from 3 Corvin systems without explanation. The Federation claimed the systems were strategically unimportant," Sarah added. "Sound familiar?" Rachel nodded grimly. The Federation had used the same excuse when abandoning human colonies to the Devourers. Other species were learning not to trust such explanations. "Alliance fleet status?" Rachel asked. General Webb answered. 47 Alliance species have contributed ships to the Common Defense Fleet. We now have over 800 vessels under unified command. All crews are training with Earth tactical doctrines. The difference in military philosophy was stark. Federation tactics emphasized minimal casualties and preservation of enemy forces for negotiation. Alliance tactics focused on protecting member species by any means necessary. Captain Tony Martinez reported from the Alliance carrier Normandy. Our pilots are teaching other species fighter crews the swarm tactics we used against the Devourers. The results are impressive. What about the Tau Collective? Jake asked. They've requested full Alliance membership, Martinez replied. After seeing what happened to the Devourers, they want to be on our side if another existential threat appears. Admiral Stone's image smiled slightly. The Federation spent centuries convincing younger species that they needed protection from more advanced civilizations. Now those same species are choosing Earth over the Federation. Director Amy Fisher joined the communication from her office on Earth. Economic reports show that former Federation colonies are significantly more prosperous under Alliance protection. Without Federation bureaucracy and taxes, they can focus resources on actual development. The contrast was becoming clear to everyone. The Federation had become a bloated bureaucracy, more concerned with maintaining power than protecting its members. The Alliance offered something simpler: mutual defense and genuine cooperation. There's been another development, Sarah announced. The Andorian Empire has approached me about joining the Alliance. The room buzzed with excitement. The Andorians were one of the oldest and most powerful species in the galaxy. Their decision to leave the Federation would be devastating to Zalari authority. What's their reasoning? Rachel asked. The same as everyone else's. They watched the Federation abandon humanity's colonies, then watched Earth succeed where the Federation failed. They want to be allied with the species that actually fights for its people. Jake looked around the room at representatives from dozens of worlds. A year ago, these species had all been Federation members, trusting in Zalari wisdom and protection. Now they were building something new, an alliance based on mutual respect rather than hierarchical authority. The meeting was interrupted by an emergency communication. Captain Ryan Baker appeared on screen from his patrol ship near the old Federation border. Admirals, we have a situation. A Federation fleet is approaching Alliance space. 300 ships led by a Zalari dreadnought. The room tension increased immediately. This was the confrontation everyone had been expecting. What are their demands? Rachel asked. They want all former Federation colonies to return to Federation control. They're giving us 48 hours to comply or face military action. Jake looked at the faces around him. Representatives from 37 species, all of whom had chosen the Alliance over the Federation. All of whom remembered what Federation protection had been worth when the Devourers came. Admiral Stone, Jake said formally, the Alliance requests Earth's support in this matter. Rachel's image nodded solemnly. The Alliance will have whatever support it needs. Earth made a promise to protect those who ask for our help. We keep our promises. The meeting adjourned with clear purpose. The Alliance would not return to Federation control. The species that had witnessed Earth's decisive action against the Devourers trusted human protection more than Zalari bureaucracy. As the representatives filed out to prepare their defenses, Jake stood alone at the memorial wall. He traced his finger along the names of the dead, people who had died waiting for Federation help that never came. Admiral Stone's final message played on every Alliance world. The Federation taught us that peace comes from avoiding conflict. Earth learned that peace comes from being strong enough to defend those who cannot defend themselves. We heard one cry for help from our people, and we answered with everything we had. That is what it means to be human. That is what it means to be free. The galaxy had learned a harsh lesson. Humanity's peaceful nature had never been weakness. It was choice. When that choice became impossible, Earth had shown the galaxy what humans were truly capable of when their survival was threatened. The Alliance fleet moved to defensive positions around member worlds. Earth's quantum tunnel network allowed instant deployment of ships anywhere in Alliance space. The Federation would face an enemy that could strike from anywhere at any time. The age of Federation dominance was ending. A new era was beginning, built on the simple principle that sometimes the only way to preserve peace is to be willing to fight for it.